Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong, and I'm here with the Fun-Pack. Let me sort it while I'm showing it to you. For the fabric portion of this week, we've got this large piece of off-white. You know, it feels like linen, and this is a large piece. Part of it has the selvage, and part of it was hemmed, and part of it was just raw edge. It was a huge piece of fabric. And when I saw the quality of it, I thought, well, I have to get that. So I have washed it and dried it, and it's clean. And you get quite a large piece. I love things like this to put on my file folders when I make my one signature journals. I like to put this kind of fabric, you know, cotton or heavy cotton, just cut it or tear it and make it part of the journal cover. Each pack has got 2 vintage photographs, and of course they're all different because they're old. One will have people in it and one will have a house or a landmark of some kind. And then in this little bag there is some of the little fortunes that I found in that bag. Quite a few here, at least, it looks like at least 8 of those. And then one of the metal, whatever these are, they remind me of those posts that you put in scrapbooks, but of course this is so much larger. There is one pack, I think I've got the pack that has the smallest one. They're all like this, except one was a little smaller, I think. Here are 2 of the little moons that you could slow stitch onto a fabric page. There are a couple of plastic cogs or wheels, probably from a toy or a building set, and they've got holes in the center, so you could use those like charms. You could use them as stencils or, you know, whatever. And then there are 4 plastic or glass beads. Some of them may have all plastic, but there are some pretty ones in there. And then some of these just little like children's beads. There's a tag. It's really nice. It's a heavy sort of resin or plastic. I'm not sure what that's made from. And then let me show you this. Each kit, each fun pack has a set of these book corners, but they're all different sizes. Some are going to be larger like this. Some are smaller. So I bought an assortment of these, and no 2 sets were alike. And I thought, well, and I've still got quite a few that I didn't put in the kits, and they are all smaller ones. But I did want to include one in each kit or pack, just so that you'll have it. If you want to use it in this project, you can. If not, you can use it in the next one. And all of this will be in a little bag of some kind. There are a couple of vintage slides. Those are really cool. I didn't look at all of them. I don't have time always. Here is a coaster. I've got tons of these, this same kind. I've had them for years. I was looking at it this time and thinking it might be fun to collage over it or put fabric around it and make it sort of raised to be able to use as a part of like a cluster or an assemblage piece for the front of a journal. Couple of pieces of ribbon, and then a really fun piece of very fibrous fabric. So you might do a tab or just incorporate it into something. And here is, so that is a piece of scrapbook paper. I believe that one is, I can't remember, 6 by 9 maybe. And then we have, and this is this beautiful paisley scrapbook paper. These are 9 by 12. They're all different kinds. So this is not all the patterns. I tried to make sure everybody got a little bit of everything. And then the offcuts here, these are, I think, 3 by 12. And then everybody has a 6 by 6 piece of this. Everybody has one of the heart-shaped doilies. And then there's 6 of these. These little tabs that I cut out, they can be used as tabs on pages, or I like to wind thread around them for my packs or to store little pieces of yarn and stuff that I have. Each one is going to have a little sample, fabric sample thing like this with 4 different pieces on it. I think the words are fun. This is mink, acorn, godiva, and nutmeg. So those are really fun. And then I just fell in love with this vintage wallpaper. I wish I had a whole roll of this. Look at the colors. It feels so 60s or 70s. And then you can just see all the bright colors. I thought that would be inspiring. And I love the little birds on that. So we have those. And then this wrapping paper was so pretty, and it's so nice. It's a very heavy paper, so each one has a square of that, and each one has a couple of pages from an Alphonse Mucha coloring book. Some have got a little bit of coloring on them, some are still blank, but I thought they might be fun to use as book pages. And then there's a folder that has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. About 18 magazine pages. You'll get the file folder and you'll get the pages. I'm not going to show them all. I don't know. I start worrying about copyright and stuff like that. But I bought the magazine, so I guess it's okay to, sell some of the book pages and things like that. And they're all, I made sure that each one of them had some kind of face on it, or an eye, a really big eye, something that you can use. This paper is awesome. I found a large book of paper. It's like sample paper, I guess. And some I had used at my gel plate, and some, some is just blank. It did have pieces of paper that were solid white, and some have designs, but these would make great journal pages if you're going to do a trashy journal. And there are 7 of these, I think. Looks like 7. And then we have this white, really soft white yarn with, you can see the sparkles in it. And we have this really soft blue yarn with the sparkles in it. And then we have a little card with this very pretty yarn. It's so soft, and it's got the blues and the purples. Tiny touch of like a gray in there. That's really pretty. And then we have a piece of this fabric that was cut from a larger piece that I had to kind of move around. It wasn't easy to cut out off because of the shape. So these, I tried to get them all the same size. They may be a little different, but I tried to get the same amount. Like if yours is more square, some of them are longer. And then we have this piece of upholstery fabric. We have this fun piece of fabric. I was inspired by the shapes on this. I wish it was a little bit brighter, but I love it. I love it anyway. Love the designs in there. I love the colors too. I don't know why I was just in a mood for brightness this week. And then we have this heavy piece. I love things like that to use as tabs and in little clusters and such. That bright piece of fabric. And then we have this piece of polka dots. I'm sorry, I've got strings everywhere. And then this is a beautiful piece of fabric. This was another large piece of fabric that was a very odd shape. I think something had been cut out of it, but I could not resist these little touches of that purpley pink color. And, it's a very patterned piece. So you may get a piece of the fabric that's got a different amount of this or a different layout, but it's the same fabric. And then we have this little piece. It looks very Asian. So does this in a way. Looks like cherry blossoms. We've got these old castles and the bridges here. Sort of looks European as well. But several of the fabrics that I found this week had an Asian feel to them. This is really pretty with the flowers. And then this was just a beautiful piece of fabric. Once again, I don't know if somebody had cut out of it or if at one point it was going to be a garment, but it's got this beaded trim on it. So I just put a little square of that and everything. And then this fibrous piece is so pretty. I feel like we could do something with that. And this little piece, I love the little flowers. That one's a little bit wrinkled on the corner. And then this last piece, I was very inspired by this. I think this would be so much fun as a journal cover. This is really textured, and then we have these two sections of, it's almost like ribbon, very heavy, and then this upholstery fabric here. You can see there's little dots in the middle of all of these. So that is the fun pack for this week. I made 8 of these. I'm keeping one for myself, and I will show you how I make my journal with mine. So there are 7 available. I'm putting a link directly to PayPal, and when they're sold out, I will remove that link. They seem like they sell quickly. I've had several inquiries about, where to buy stuff, and people don't see it, and I understand. It's because I take the link down after they sell, because I don't want people... I like for people to know if they're sold, they're sold. I don't want to waste your time by having you click on something and then find out it's sold. So this is it. I will be back really soon because I can't wait to start a journal with this pack. All right, bye for now.